Hey, what's up, guys? Brian Barrera here, CEO for LC Innovation. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for watching my videos, for watching my clips. I think I just got like recognized. YouTube sent me an email saying, "Congrats, you hit over 10 hours a couple weeks ago of people watching my videos," which is insane. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I don't have 1,000 subscribers. I don't have a million. I haven't got viral yet. Whatever. I just want to talk to people about my 5 tool employee framework and the business methods that I've worked with, and some that I've even created. But now I found this inspiration tab on my YouTube Studio channel, and it's giving me inspiration. It's telling me things to talk about that based on stuff that I already talk about, and this is one of them that I found so compelling. It's entrepreneurship, innovation, and scaling business growth. This is a deep dive into the entrepreneur journey and the innovative strategies employed to achieve significant business scaling. As presented, the discussion will explore the essential elements that are considered to drive growth in today's dynamic market. But yeah, it's telling me I should talk about this, which is crazy. Super cool stuff, awesome, and but I couldn't stop thinking about SWOT. And before I jump into that, the craziest thing about this topic is when you try to consult startups and you try to help them. First of all, something must be wrong with you because some startups don't want to be helped. A lot of startups that I've worked with, the owners of those startups believe that they're the only product in the market that does what they do. A lot of them believe that they are by far the smartest people in the world, not just the room. They're not going to listen to you. If you tell them there's another product they found that's just like theirs or even better, they're not going to believe you. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes they think everybody that works with them is an idiot. They think that people are not as smart as they are. They don't think people are working as hard as they work. This is a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's hard. It's hard. And, when you first work with some startups, it's very, very good in the beginning. It's like a honeymoon phase. And then it quickly dissolves and falls apart when you don't do something that they want you to do the way they want it to be done. So it's hard, and then there's been a few startups that have listened to me when it comes to getting a cheap or even free ERP system or a customer retention management system. You meet so many people when you're a startup that you need somewhere to write them down. And even though Excel, a lot of them still use Excel, which is awesome. I love Excel, but there's some strong CRMs out there. And I've worked with CRMs, I've worked with ERPs my entire career in the casino industry, in the manufacturing industry, the gaming industry. Sorry, I've worked with several different ERP systems and CRMs, and they are so powerful. I worked with AI before it was AI. Um, but yeah, it's such powerful things, such awesome things. But the problem is that too many of these startups don't believe. They like to say we're too small for that. We're too small for that, and they have their budget and they're going to stick to that budget. And I totally get it, but there's free resources out there. Um, but yeah, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about like I got very negative. I started like realizing like what's most of the startups tell me they're too small for this. They're not there yet in their timeline. Their product is the best. It doesn't need any improvement. They get upset. They get offended by it. But the one that really got me was how many people say they use the SWOT analysis. So, in regards to this topic, entrepreneurship, innovation, and scaling business growth, in the form of innovation, in the form of entrepreneurship, hiring people, partnering with people, SWOT analysis. I do the SWOT analysis. You have to. Pepperdine taught me to change it to the OTSU, put opportunities and threats before your strengths and weaknesses, because how can you know what your strengths and weaknesses are if you're just jumping into that? You have to get to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And the only way you can figure that out is knowing what the opportunity or the threat is, right? If you're doing it based on today, that's fine. But if you're doing a SWOT analysis because a decision has to be made, well, then you first have to know what is that opportunity and what is that threat. You have to know those things first in order to know your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So that's the way Pepperdine Time, which I totally agree with. But just to stay aligned with everybody who has learned the traditional way of calling it a SWOT analysis, which is your strengths and weaknesses come before the opportunities and threats, we're going to keep it that way. But I've met one person in my entire career that got on the board and did a SWOT analysis, and it was by far the one of the best. It was by far the best analysis I've ever seen done. This person flew in from Chicago. This person was Irish from Ireland, but they flew in from their headquarters in Chicago of their business. They were born in Ireland. This person came to our facility, and man, this person just got on the board and said, we've been having quality issues for about 6 months now. Your team has done corrective action, preventative action, a kappa, um, but it's not really done. The SWOT analysis is not done well in there. The five whys is not done well in there. So I'm tired of having these issues. Even if it's our fault, your fault, whatever, I want to do the SWOT analysis. And this person came. Now, again, you're probably thinking to yourself, this is a huge corporation, because it was a huge corporation. They flew in from their headquarters. Usually, startups don't have a headquarters. I mean, they do have a headquarters, but you know what I mean in the context of having a big organization or a big corporate company. And yeah, they flew in and we did a 2-day SWOT analysis, and it was awesome. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. But it's funny because I talk to a lot of corporate people who won't do a SWOT analysis. They say they will, but they don't. They're good with just an email, just a kappa saying what happened. Worked with a lot of startups who never, ever, ever talk about a threat or a weakness. I totally understand the way of doing things is you want to maximize your strengths and weaknesses. Some strengths and you want to maximize your strengths by limiting your weaknesses. But when it comes to an organizational analysis, the pulse of the organization, understanding the heartbeat of the organization, a in order to move forward with a thorough, robust analysis, you have to understand what your threats and your weaknesses are with a decision that needs to be made. And the problem that I see with startups, the problem that I see with entrepreneurs is they like to stay busy by the form of calling people left and right. They like to stay busy by going to all these events and going after investors and getting in pitch competitions and all that. But what really shocks me is when I see them just hire people, not even with an interview, don't even onboard them. They don't even sign a contract with them sometimes. A lot of these, I've seen probably 9 times out of 10, these startup people, these startup entrepreneurs, CEOs, owners, founders, they just hire people. They just hire them. They got a good feel. A lot of them say, I'm a pretty good judge of character. I feel that person was really good. I know people well. That's what I hear. If we did a SWOT analysis, especially if you truly have a novel concept or a novel product line that you've created, you have to do a thorough analysis. Because if you give the wrong person 5%, 3%, 10%, person that doesn't have your vision, they just want to, I don't know. But if it's a person that just doesn't have your vision, do you really want to give them a piece of that ownership? Do you really want them to be a headache 5, 10 years from now? And then when you're scaling business growth, do you really want to dive into a market that you're not ready for? Dive into a market that you haven't truly delved into or dissected to know what they need, to know what they want, to know their market behavior, to know their consumer behavior. Do you not know what's really going on? A SWOT analysis you can do for employees. You can do SWOT analysis for employees. Your strengths and weaknesses, your opportunities, threats, right? Are they fast? Do they make decisions quickly? But is it full of crap? Or are they actually really problem solving? Do they think fast on their feet, not just to give a quick reaction or a quick answer, but they actually know what they're talking about, right? Weaknesses, they may hesitate in complex decisions. So that might be okay. If that's their weakness, that means that they want to think a little bit more. Or do they get into analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis? Do they get into that form, right? Because if they're weak and they may hesitate in complex decisions, then that might become a threat, right? Faster decision makers in competition, and also to paralysis by analysis or analysis by paralysis. I've heard it done both ways. But that's what happens, right? A weakness becomes a threat. The strength is quick, adaptable problem solving, which becomes an opportunity in training and strategic analysis, right? They're quick, they're adaptable, they're problem solvers, and they're allowed to train people on what they do because that's under strategy, right? That's a strategic analysis. Power, right? This is the 5 tool employee framework. The first one was speed, the second one's power. Impact on outcomes, right? Do they deliver strong, measurable results? Their weakness is inconsistent under high pressure. Inconsistent under high pressure can then become overload risks, reducing effectiveness, right? The high pressure, they're inconsistent, and because of that, right, it risks overload and it reduces their effectiveness. Deliver strong measurable results then becomes an opportunity in leadership roles to amplify impact, right? Because it's your measurable results and you're a leader and you know how to lead, then that's going to make your other leadership roles amplify the impact, right? It's going to make everybody perform even better, which causes a better impact in society, with raises or raises society, community, just the organizational health, profitability. It amplifies. You could see that impact based on their performances. Hitting for average, error consistency, right? High accuracy, rare mistakes, then turns into an opportunity with exposure to varied projects. If you have high accuracy, make very rare mistakes, when you jump into opportunities, right, you're going to be able to get really complex projects. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb when you can't reach certain measurables. If you can't reach them, you're going to see that in the opportunity, which is going to save you. It's going to save you from losing a lot of money. If you're limited experience with diverse tasks, if that is your weakness, then it's going to cause stress induced errors in new roles because you don't have that experience with diverse tasks. It's going to cause a lot of stress and a lot of errors. Fielding, teamwork, support, right? The strength in that is reliable team contributor. If you're a good team contributor, it's going to make your teamwork even better. And you're going to believe in doing team building workshops because you know that works. You know, getting your team to work together in workshops and go to escape rooms and go have a retreat where you have a consultant like me doing a retreat for you, and you know you're going through all these different phases, all these different scenarios, all these different trainings. And then a weakness can be weak in complex collaborative tasks, what then becomes a threat, and stronger team players may outshine, right? Weak in complex collaborative tasks. So if you have team members that are better at complex collaborative tasks, then it's going to make other players outshine you. You see how they're connected? Arm strength, strategic initiative, right? And once again, if you don't understand my 5 tool framework, you can go to the videos and we talk about that. So I'm assuming that you know about my 5 tool framework if you're looking at this video. But the strength can be shows initiative in key moments, which can lead towards mentoring for key leadership development. You show initiative in key moments, those key moments that will impact your organization, right? That can lead toward mentoring people for leadership development. You want more leaders. You want more leaders because you know there's going to be more key moments, and you can't be at each moment. You can't be at more places than one. You can't. So while you develop more leaders, those leaders are then going to be at those moments, and they're going to represent you in the way you train them or the trainings that you got for them. So you know they're going to be able to make impactful decisions that will only boost profitability and morale in the company. Weakness is limited proactivity and uncertainty. Limited proactivity and when you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be proactive. Limited proactive if you don't know what you're doing, which then becomes a lack of alignment with company goals. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know why you're doing it. You don't know how to stay proactive. You're very reactive. And that means that you are not aligning with company goals because since you don't know what you're doing, how are you going to align with company goals? It's that simple. But that's it, guys. When it comes to this topic, when it comes to understanding entrepreneurship, innovation, and scaling business growth, I've talked to a lot of companies with great products, with a good founder, and they hire people just because they want to hire them. They don't do a SWOT. They hire people. They get into new markets when they haven't truly finished the market that they've dived into already. So they jump into a new market because they're giving up on their goal. They're giving up on it too soon because they're not seeing incremental gains. So they're moving to something else, which is a whole new market or a whole new product line. And they're giving up because they never truly did a SWOT analysis. They never figured out what their opportunity was. They just wanted quick bucks. And I love incremental gains. If you can see incremental, but a lot of people don't like incremental gains. And if you follow my 5 tool employee framework, you're going to see that a lot of people just want to hit home runs, right? That $5,000 revenue a month for the next 2 years. Ah, you know what? That's not $2 million. That's not $5 million. Okay, but if you just focus in on the 5,000 and it's not enough, well then what's working in that 5,000, right? What's your strength in that 5,000? What's your weakness in that 5,000? What is your opportunity to get more from that 5,000? Have you reached out to your clients to see what else are they buying? What else more can they buy from you? Are you using a CRM to capture all those things to make you retain that customer for longer periods of time? That's it, guys. That's what I got for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And yeah, shoot me a comment, or if you need some consulting, let me know. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye.